Thanks for joining us. And the purpose of this webinar really is to sort of give you an overview of what we've got new with the Unity Contact Center. So there's a couple of admin changes, and then there's some sort of user changes, things that the customers can use, some new features and that kind of stuff. So I think we're not going to be recapping the entire Unity Contact Center solution. So really this is designed for an audience that's already pretty much familiar with how the solution works and what it does. In saying that, I can see there is some new faces here, so if you wanted to sort of start from the beginning and sort of get all that backfilled, then please reach out to us offline and we can certainly pick all that up for you. So just to recap what we're going to be looking at today is some of the new things, and a lot of it's actually come from feature requests, to be honest. So we've got some new animations for the web chat. So the web chat solution largely works the same, but it's some different animations. So that's the things you can actually put on the customer's screen. There's a couple on the right-hand side. Was one on the right-hand side, which we're going to show you live once we get off these slides in a moment. And we've got some, this is slightly out of order, but we've got some other sort of optional fields you can have for web chats as well. So again, this is a feature request, something we've had a lot, is when the visitor, the remote party, starts a web chat on your customer's website, then the ability to put in a sort of a reference number or ask for a purchase order or a ticket number, all that kind of stuff, that then gets pushed through with the chat session to the agent. We're going to look at that live in a moment. Some other changes we've had for the callbacks. We've done a lot of changes to callbacks, to be honest. So this is just to recap what a callback is. It's a little widget, a little bit of JavaScript that can be put on the website. Basically, it says, would you like us to call you back? And then the visitor to the website puts the name and number in, and then it initiates a callback request that gets queued to the agent, etc. A couple of changes we've made there. One of them is we've put the reason for the callback. You can see this on the right-hand side here. Very much the same as the sort of reference number with the web chat. It's the same thing. It's what would you like us to call you back about? You know, I'm chasing up this ticket number or whatever the case may be. So we've got a reason for a callback that's getting pushed to the agent. A couple of other things that I think we're going to look at some of them and talk about the rest of them with the callbacks is that what used to happen with the callback, it was delivered to an agent and then the agent double clicks and it makes a callback using the BroadSoft extension. So it doesn't have to use BroadSoft call senders. It's not using DNS. It's just using the extension to make an outbound call. That worked fine. We've rather made some enhancements to how that sort of works and given the agent more control. So what they can do is they can leave that callback in their active call window in Unity. So it's not closed down anymore. So they've got more control over actually where they tear it down. And they can also put notes in. So we can put so for example, if a callback comes in and then the agent calls back and then the person says, listen, I'm really busy, can you call me in an hour? They can put a note in, listen, call me back in an hour. They can schedule the callback for another time. There's a lot more flexibility that we've built into callbacks. I think the purpose of this call actually is just to sort of, I think we're looking at 20-25 minutes here, is just to sort of overview what this is, because if you want to get a bit more granular on it and get it set up on your own systems and all that kind of stuff, there's certainly no problem doing that. So the key takeaway is there's a lot more functionality with callbacks. We also have, not right today, but it's almost complete, is the ability for the visitor, so the visitor on the website to schedule a callback. So what we're seeing often is callbacks and web chats being used in parallel by customers. Typically you're using a web chat during the day and then using a callback at night. So, you know, the office is closed, would you like us to call you? Yes. So what we've now got is the ability for the visitor to be able to schedule when they want the callback. So call me now, call me in an hour, call me tomorrow between 12 and 1. What that will do is that will schedule that in our cloud contact center, and then of course it's going to get delivered between 12 and 1 or whatever the case may be. So lots of cool stuff happening with callbacks, to be honest, really building that out. Avatars. So again, this is probably the number one requested feature we've had actually with the web chat, is the ability to have avatars. This comes into play in two ways. We're going to look at this live in a moment, and that is the ability to upload a company logo or a picture or whatever you want really. But if we look on the right hand side here at this lady, that's the avatar. So you can upload whatever you want there. So obviously that could be a customer logo, or it could be, you know, product image or whatever you want. So that's the first stage. So that's what they see when they land on the website. They're going to see this avatar. The second part of that, and again this is optional, is the ability to show the avatar of the agent, which I think we'll look at. Or certainly talk about anyway how this works. And so what happens there is in the Unity portal, basically against the user ID, so it's the Broadworks user ID, you can now upload an avatar of the agent. So what we've always had, when a web chat is up, so the visitor to the website's initiated a web chat, you can have the visitor optionally chatting to Steve or whoever they're chatting to, whatever the agent is. Okay, so now we can upload a picture of Steve. So you could. We're building that out. It's just trying to personalize the whole experience. It looks like sort of a lot of the studies have shown that the more personal you can make this whole experience, the better it is for the visitor. So that's certainly something we're trying to build out on. Okay. Ticket number, talked about that. We've got a custom field. You can read that. It doesn't have to be ticket number. You can call it whatever you want. We're going to look at it, and it's really easy to set up. And with some of the new enhancements above, there's just a new designer, basically. So it's a new layout editor to make it easier to sort of actually see what these things look like. Okay. So on the right-hand side there, we've got, there's an end-user portal. That's the first place I'm going to start, to be honest. So what this is it's in the Unity portal. There's now customer-level logins. So if you've got a contact center admin or manager or whatever the case may be, the customer can log into the portal directly and they can admin the whole setup. Okay, they don't have to be one of the agents themselves. Okay, it's a separate login that's created. They can't break anything, to be honest. They don't see any visibility of any of the other tabs. For anybody that's familiar with the Unity portal, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. They can't purchase licenses. Okay, you guys need to assign them contact center licenses either directly in the portal, if that's how you're consuming Unity licenses now, or through your provisioning system, which about half of our providers do. So basically the licenses get assigned the same way that you already do it now. Once they're assigned, the customer can basically build media streams, add and remove agents, change all the messages and prompts and all that kind of stuff, upload avatars and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to show you that. It's the first thing I'm going to start off actually just talking about is the portal. The other thing I would say is to wrap this call at the end, I'm just going to give you a sort of a view of our near-term roadmap. There's a number of things coming. One of them is more changes to the portal. So the first step is we've got, like I say, the customer access. The second stage is I'm going to show you some mock-ups of some dashboards that are going to be able to show just some stats and pie charts and stuff like that. It's not designed as an end-to-end reporting solution, but it's going to show people basically what's happening today, this week, this month, etc. So that's going to be, like I say, the roadmap that we're going to pick up on at the end. And this is on the right-hand side, as I was got ahead of myself a moment ago. So this is one of the changes to the email media streams. And again, this has really been requested about quite a lot, so we've bumped it up the list. And that's just simply to have BCCs and CCs. So it works exactly the same way as we're used to on email. So it's basically that exact same functionality is now built into the email media stream. So the agent, which is what I'm looking at here, this is the agent experience. As you can see, if the agent replies, it's going to reply to any CCs that the inbound, the customer sent in, and you can obviously add your own there anyway. So very straightforward. That's in there now. And we made some enhancements to staff groups. So a staff group basically is a way of just combining a list of users. You could make one called sales, and then you could put all the sales guys in it, and etc. And then if you're making a media stream for sales, so you're making a sales email queue or a sales Twitter queue or whatever it is, instead of adding all the agents individually, you can just add that sales staff group in. Staff groups have already been there, but you can actually now sort of edit these at a specific user level or an agent level. Okay, so we've built that out a little bit. For some of those, there's a number of deployments that we've got that have got basically it's the same number of people taking all sorts of different media streams, and it just makes it a lot easier to manage that. You can push people in and out of the staff group. You don't have to go into every single media stream. Okay, right. And with that, we're going to finish up with the roadmap. But rather than sort of alt-tabbing, coming back to this presentation, I'm going to show you on the right-hand side here, this is the dashboard. So I'm going to show you what we have now, which is the customer level, as I mentioned. And then what we're going to see is this. So these buttons at the top, this is just a slight reordering of the screen. As I've mentioned a number of times, for anybody that's familiar with the platform now, these are the same options. It works exactly the same, in-office profiles and etc., building queues and all that kind of stuff. So you drill into that the same way. But what we are seeing is we've got a few dashboard views, depending on whether you're looking at when the customer first signs in, so they can get a view of their whole the whole contact center experience. They can drill into queues and media streams, and it's basically the same orientation, but things change. So, for example, if you're drilling into a web chat media stream, you're seeing things like average star rating and all that kind of stuff. But what we're really trying to show here, again, this is sort of at the queue level, is again how I can toggle, so I can see the stats for today, this week, or this month, and that just toggles all of the stats, of course. And if I just talk about really what we're trying to show here, we're trying to show sort of the overall headline stats and also the agent performance. So we can see what the people are doing, and we can also see how many people we've got available. So I can see live now. So that's how many live conversations have I got. Okay. So a live conversation is going to be one that's reserved or unreserved. So really, if you're not familiar with the terminology on the system, that means that how many emails, tweets, how many things have I got in the queue, how many are total in the queue, and also how many have been answered now, how many are actually sitting at the agent level. So it's not ones that have been answered, of course, it's live now. Obviously, that could be zero. If you've got none live at the time, you got none, and that's just basically giving you a picture of what's happening now. And again, for the conversations we've got, we're looking at what's been answered and stuff like that. Unstaffed is one that's obviously a red flag. You shouldn't get any unstaffed. Unstaffed is a setting that we've got where if any visitors join a media stream when there's no agents joined to it, what happens to them? Then we play a message to them, and then we can overflow that to the supervisor. And at the moment, we're sending emails and stuff like that. That's obviously bad. You should never have unstaffed. So all that means really is that if you are getting any unstaffed, you might need to look at changing your in-office profile so that you're only showing your web chat, of course, when you've actually got people in the office and that kind of stuff. And again, same thing here with the totals. We're just trying to be able to show people what is happening. So again, this is going to break down per week, per month. So it's or just one bar for the day, simply broken down through Twitter, email, and everything else. This is at the queue level, so this could be a number. There could be a number of web chats and things in here, right? So this is combining it all. So this is something that we're working on. The other thing I should say is if anybody hasn't logged into the portal for a few months, this whole look might be new. We've just changed the UI in the portal. We've reskinned it, and the reason we reskinned it is because we were leading up to this customer access. Obviously, we've got people coming in, we want it to look prettier. The other thing we've got coming in March, it's scheduled, we've sort of made a commitment that it's going to come in March, is the contact center supervisor. It's likely that's going to be coming in sort of two parts. It's probably going to be coming in two parts. The first part will have the ability for the supervisor to add and remove agents from media streams in the same way that we have that capability now on the BroadSoft ACD with our current supervisor for, like I say, for call centers. So all of that's coming. And probably what won't be in phase one, but will be coming is a silent monitor. So again, the same as we have with the BroadSoft solution. So if I'm the supervisor and I want to listen to Jen's, emails, web chats, listen in. Obviously, if I want to see on my screen, I can see in my Unity whatever she's doing, that kind of stuff. And also the ability to block IPs. If there's people that are having malicious visitors, that kind of stuff, we can block IPs and shut them down. And there's a few other things on the roadmap. So that's coming, that's near term, and that's underway now. The other thing that's coming is the contact center stats are coming for dashboard. This won't be March, but it won't be too far after. So the dashboard product we have now, it's got tabular and graphical views, and it can show a whole lot of call center stats, basically. All of the contact center stats are coming into that. What's also going to be coming in is these exact screens that we've got now. So there's three of this template. This is just the one I've shown you about the queues. This is actually going to be coming exactly as you see it now, also to the dashboard. So you'll be able to get this, like I mentioned, in the Unity portal if you're logged in as a supervisor. But you can also put it up on a big screen and have it toggling through. So you can show this, and then it can flip to a tabular view after 20 seconds or whatever, and it shows all it shows all the agents and how many web chats they've answered and callbacks they've answered and all that kind of stuff, depending on what your customer's using and how they want to see all those stats rendered. Like I say, that's April, May is the plan. Cool. Add internal notes to callbacks. that's basically something like, so I sort of touched on, to be honest. It's just part of the build out of the callbacks. Basically, it's being able to add notes so that that can be shared. So, for example, if you have answered a callback, and then if I'm the agent and I've answered a callback and I call the person back and I say, hey, listen, I'm really busy. Can you call me tomorrow? And then myself as the agent, I'm not there tomorrow. I can say, customers requested a call tomorrow. It's about X, Y, Z, and then the agent can then schedule it. So as well as the visitor being able to schedule a callback, the agent can schedule, say, this guy wants to call back at midday tomorrow, just talk about Caribbean cruises. So when it's delivered the next day at midday, the next agent that picks it up, whoever that might be, they can see that those internal notes are there. That's what that is. It's just to be able to sync up the whole callbacks solution now that we've got sort of a few more out in the field and had some more feedback. Okay, so with that, I'm going to just jump live into the portal here. Okay, right. So the first thing to say is this is the customer level login. Sorry, by the way, if anybody's got any questions, we're a bit late starting. Sorry, a bit rushed. But if you've got any questions, please let me know at the end. No tricky ones would be great. Thanks. So here we are. So this is the Unity portal. As I mentioned, if you haven't seen this before, or certainly not for about 6 months, this is going to be a slightly new skin. But this is what the user can now log in to do. So at the group, I'm not going to go into this, but at the group level, you can create a portal user account. It's very straightforward. It's email-based. Put a password in. Your customer, or the call contact center admin, then gets an email. They get forced to change the password. They get the link, pretty much like every other portal. This gives them direct access. What they won't see, that I'm seeing, is all of the stuff on the left, tickets, all this kind of stuff. They can't open tickets. They can't see any of the brand. They can't see any, or there's none of these details basically. All they see, the only thing they see is this contact center panel here. So here we are. So this is, again, I'm not going to go through all of this stuff, but except the stuff that's changed. As I mentioned, this is actually the landing page where the dashboard is going to be. Okay. So that's where we are. So this is going to be for the customer to be able to set everything up, everything excepting assigning licenses. So if they've got 20 agents and they've all got a contact center license and they want to create a new email queue on Office 365, or they want to do something else, they could do all of that as long as it's the same 20 users. Otherwise, they need to contact you guys to get some more licenses pushed. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things that are new. One of them is I think we're going to start with the new web chat animations. So if I just show you, if I'm going to jump to the website here. No, it's not the website. This is the website. So what I've got on the home page here is in the bottom right-hand corner after a few seconds, I think. There we go. So it's slightly, so it's as you can see, it's not static. It animates, you know, and that's how that works. And after that, the actual chat window is largely the same. Okay, we now have got an option of what we're calling the docked panel. So as you see, this is it's at the bottom, and as the customer navigates around the page, it'll stay here, and I've got a chat up with an agent, and that's all fine. What we've got also now the ability, and I'll show you this in a moment, is to set up a docked panel, which will actually make this full height, but on the right-hand side of the panel, and then the website gets sort of pushed inside. So in other words, it's not going to be sitting over the website, and it's a bigger, it's a taller column basically, so the customer can see, the visitor can see more of the conversation with the agent. Okay, but all I wanted to show really at the moment is this animate. That's one of the animations. We've got a couple more, which I'm going to show you, which is one of them's on this page here, which is a slider. On the right-hand side, we've set this one up. So there we go. Live chat. It's not saying much at this time. Live chat. This one actually is set up in the docked. This is the docked example here. Okay, so that's how that works. Once you start a chat session, which I'm not going to do because I think everybody's familiar with that. Once you start a chat session, you've simply got more real estate. So that was a feature request, and then it doesn't sit over the web page, and the customer can browse around the site. Okay. And one of the other animations, one of the other slight changes we've got is just a little button that sticks out. There it is. Okay. So we've had there's always been a sort of a round version of this that comes up down the bottom, and we've just had a request to build it out slightly differently. So there it is. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just show you a couple of things in the actual portal itself. and one of them is the avatars. So let me just set this up quick. So I'll go into Kakapo chat. Where am I? Profile. I think that's the one that's on the website. Web chat. Yep, that's it. Web chat join. Okay, so here we go. So again, how you can find these new animations? Same place the old ones were, which is in here. So the new ones are chat, slide, and bar. They're at the bottom. So I've got it there. What I can do is now I can upload an image. So I'm not sure how well this is going to go, but let me just try and grab one. So if you've got a customer that's in the Apple's business, let's just do this. It's a bit big, this one, but you'll get the idea. Let's just make this here, crop. Okay, there we go. I'm going to select that. I'm going to update that stream. By the way, you used to have to go into the test stream page. That's still where you get the JavaScript. You used to have to go in there to test it. So if the customer logs in and they build something and they go, oh, does that work? They can fire it up in Unity and play with it in the test page. They can do that straight from this page, so you can just test it immediately. So what I'm going to do is update that. There we go. I have to remember to take this off, or people will wonder what's going on. Come to our website. And I'm assuming I've updated the right media stream, in which case I'm going to see an apple here. There we go. So we're in the apples business. Same thing applies. If I do start a chat, let me do this quick, and I'll show you how this... oh gosh, Steve Tutt. Let's see, I want to talk to the sales department. Let me make sure I am actually joined. So we're going to take a chat in. Now, here we are, this guy, Salesforce guy. So now I'm going to reserve that, and I'm going to chat back. Blah, blah, blah. Chatting to Steve. And it hasn't actually put my avatar up. Sorry, we've been just playing around with a couple of things here. What you would do is you would load your own avatar. This is where it would say a picture of Steve, to be honest. That's what, and you guys can play around with that because that's live now, but it's just me on this test build. So that's how the avatars work. So as you can see, very straightforward. You can upload that. Hopefully that's very easy to set up. The ticket number thing, I'll just show you that really quick because everybody's been asking for this, to be honest, and it was right. So what I've got is an external reference label, so that's it there. So what I've got is so I've turned it on by doing this here. And now I think that will actually work without me actually even updating it. Ticket number, there we go. So you can put a ticket number in, and I've made it a mandatory field. Okay, it's very straightforward. Great. Now I think so. That's really most of the changes. Let me just have a look now at this contact us page where we have. I'm already on the phone, so I'm not sure the best way to demo this, but let me just show you on the contact us page. So this is where we've got a callback. Okay. So a lot of the changes on the callback side. Want me to call you back? Yep. That'd be great. So here we go. So there's the reason for the callback. So it's very straightforward. What I'll do is, because I'm on my extension now, I can generate a callback, but I won't actually be able to pick it up. So it's probably easier just to talk through how that experience works. But as we looked at the slides, basically, the agent's got a lot more flexibility. They can put notes in and then push it back to the contact center, so they can schedule it, and then it gets saved back in the cloud. It's gone. It's cleared down from their active call window. It's not theirs anymore. And then it gets shipped in the next day. The other option is if they do call the person back, they can leave the callback request within their control here within the active call window. So they can still take more web chats and phone calls and emails and whatever else, and then they can go back and call that person later. So there's a lot more flexibility there. Okay, I think with that, I think that pretty much wraps most of what we wanted to talk about for this call. And I think we're pretty much on time as well. So if anybody's got any questions, I see there's one coming. If anybody's got any questions, please use the toolbar on the right, and we'll just have a look at those. We'll just give a couple of minutes while they come in. Okay, so we've got a question straight away on the basically, can this be made non-mandatory? At the moment, it can't. So if you do add an external reference, it is mandatory at the moment. I mean, I guess the person could have put in don't have one or none. I mean, there's no numbering format or anything like that. But at the moment, if you do have an external reference label, that actually is going to be mandatory. Right. That's it. Excellent. Thanks everybody for your time. If there's something that you want to drill into more, as I mentioned, please reach out to us and we can set up a call to go through it. All the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.